Hello there, and welcome to the
Hello.
Outside Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz like there's no tomorrow. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host John. How are you doing today?
Yes, it's me. It's me.
It's you,
Yeah.
as always.
Yes, me.
Wow, and what a day it is.
John.
On the day we're recording this, so this is the day literally before it airs. It's been a mad day of weather. Snowing in April. What does the world come to?
I don't know. We were just talking about the weather today, and it said that some parts of the country are not affected by the snow.
Oh,
so,
wow. It's just us.
like
We're
Leeds.
going to die.
Leeds is just like super sunny, just like really sunny. Scotland, it's fine. London, just chilling. We're just like getting snow. So, it's just been crazy day for weather. So
it truly is a sign of the
recording.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
It truly is a sign of the apocalypse, as they say. Don't know who says that, but they do. They say it. It's true.
It's true.
Yes, it is. So this week we're going to be talking in our main segment about restoring the Snyder Verse. Obviously, Justice League dropped a couple of weeks ago. I can't believe it's been like 3 weeks. But yeah, and so we're going to be talking about everything that could come along with that, along with Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4, and news and stuff. There are time codes, so if you want to jump about. But yeah, let's get straight to it, shall we? We have another. I think this is the third, maybe fourth Black Widow trailer. Black Widow is now going to be coming out.
Okay, that's a bit too ridiculous. I mean,
this is we've had loads of trailers for this film. It was originally supposed to come out last May, and then I think October or something, and now this May, and now it's July. So yeah, what do you think?
I mean, it's a pretty cool compilation of all the clips of Black Widow. I mean, nothing too special, but it's just like, hey, it's me, guys! Don't forget about me. I died in Endgame. Sorry, spoilers.
Spoilers.
I have my own movie, solo movie, and don't you forget it. We forgot about it last May.
Honestly, I don't obviously in terms of MCU content at the moment. I think Falcon the Winter Soldier is going really great, as we will talk about a bit later on.
It's really, really good. Really good.
But
as we will be talking about.
Yeah, we will be. Wow, what a segue. But I think Black Widow. I just have no interest in it. Honestly, it looks really bland to me.
Yeah, it's just like a forgotten relic in a deleted timeline. Hey. That was a reference from Terminator Genesis. Anyway, I don't know why I made that reference.
That's such a strange film to reference, but I mean, I respect it. I respect it.
I had to use some sort of example, but I totally made it worse. But
well, hopefully, Black Widow will be better than Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
But saying that, most films are better than Terminator Genesis.
Yeah. I just. John, why did you make that reference?
We'll never know.
So, again, I'm not too excited for this film. I just feel like Marvel is just like, hey, remember this film? No. Well, look at this trailer.
Well, I mean,
look
as you said, there's some flashback stuff in this trailer, and there's some stuff of young Natasha, so... I mean, sure, it looks... Sure. It's definitely going to happen. We'll be talking about it on the podcast.
Of course, we're going to happen.
Hopefully it's good, but I mean, hopefully it's good, but I don't really have many kind of expectations at this point.
I just feel like this is going to be maybe a generic superhero film again with Marvel, because it's just not breaking the formula. I think it's just dissecting the characters way too flashed, and we've already seen this character in a bunch of films, and I'm not too excited. So
I'm not sure where they'll go, but hopefully they go somewhere good. Now, speaking of Marvel going in different directions, there was also a trailer for Loki. So in this trailer, there was so much going on, stuff about the timekeepers. There was stuff about there was images of a destroyed New York with the Avengers Tower, the Asgard throne. As we know, certain elements such as Kang the Conqueror will be introduced in this show.
Really?
Yeah, he was cast ages ago. Jonathan Majors is playing him.
I'm so sorry. To interrupt. I thought that casting for Kang was supposed to be in Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah, it's both apparently.
Oh, both. Right.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting. I can't remember what I was looking at that said that, but yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's both of them. I might be wrong on that. And there's also like rumors that this is going to introduce different multiverse Lokis. Someone was talking about it and likened it to kind of like the Council of Ricks in Rick and Morty. So like loads of different people playing Loki throughout the multiverse. So there's a whole lot going on in this trailer. So what do you think of this one?
I think it just looks really, really different and unique to me because it's just like different multiverses and like different like time keeping and like experimenting like with different characters because like Loki he wasn't that well he's a really good villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I feel like we just don't see him more of that. But I feel like this is going to be really interesting because this is a very very different Loki because he's just like got defeated by the Avengers and he just got the Tesseract already. So this is going to be interesting of how he's going to see things differently, even though he just got kidnapped by the Timekeepers. And the interesting thing about the multiverse is like going through, seeing like the as you said about New York being destroyed and seeing things in a different way. So I'm thinking of like maybe they could take stuff from the comics, like because they can do that easily in the show of Loki. So in Loki, like maybe they could possibly do Secret Empire, but who knows?
Well, yeah, there's an opportunity here to go in those different directions. I can't agree with you more. I totally agree that there's an opportunity to do with different things with Loki here. Oh my god, what a ping! I got a text, John. I'm so popular. I'm
sorry. I don't think they're gonna do a Secret Empire, but that would be cool. But
yeah, no, it would be cool. I think I personally got really bored of Loki, seeing him pop up in all the films. He would have the same kind of arc to my eyes. But I think, especially having seen what they've done with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, I have so much faith that they will make this so much make him a much more compelling character again. Because I thought that he was great, especially in his first couple of appearances. I think there's an opportunity to do loads of really, really cool stuff. And yeah, I totally agree with you that there's an opportunity here to do some interesting multiverse stuff. Recently, I've read like the first half of the Mighty Thor run. So this is obviously what Thor 4 will be loosely based off. But in the early run of this comic, Loki does encounter many different versions of himself. So there's like the classic Loki, like a child Loki, a female Loki, like the Frost Giant Loki. There's loads of different like avenues they could take it, and there are different casting rumors as to who could play these different kind of iterations of the character too.
Yeah, and especially that we saw a female version of Loki in the trailer, like a split second, I think. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't notice that, but yeah.
You didn't notice that?
No. That was because I'm not sure this is confirmed, but there's rumors that Richard E. Grant, who you will know from Logan, Doctor Who, Rise of Skywalker, he is gonna be in the show as another Loki. I don't know if that's rumors or confirmed, but I think that would be great. That's really good casting.
Another thing I was thinking, Owen something. I forgot his name. He goes, wow.
Owen Wilson. Owen
Wilson. Oh my god. I didn't know how I just got that. Like, wow. Because he does that so perfectly well. Wow.
Yeah, he's in the one of the Timekeepers.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting to see because he's not very well. He doesn't really look into Marvel that much because I heard that he got like all the information to to keep up with what's going on in Marvel. Mm-hmm. So Tom Hiddleston said that he just taught him what's going on in Marvel. So that's going to be interesting of how Aaron Wilson, how to fit into that Marvel, you know, the thing it's going to do, and bringing in new actors to into a Marvel. What I'm saying, like
yeah. Well, I think at this point they've so many actors are involved in it. It's always good to see new talent. Who you like? Well, how have they not had Owen Wilson in it yet? And it's going to be hopefully it's cool to see.
It'll be interesting to see those two characters to see that chemistry, I mean. So,
yeah, and they've worked together before in a film, and Tom Hiddleston, I don't know, kind of famously has a pretty good Owen Wilson impression. So I hope that he does that impression. I think that'd be quite funny.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were in the film together. What film?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the film. But yeah, they are in a film together because I remember hearing Tom Hiddleston talk about it on Graham Norton a while back. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll find that film.
Yeah. So in other news, so pretty much since the last Star Trek film, there has been kind of different reports about a new film. But now the next Star Trek film has been given a date of 9th of June 2023. And it's unclear at this point whether it will be, because originally they were going to do a Star Trek 4 with Chris Hemsworth coming back to kind of interact with like the crew. But this, it's unclear whether this is happening right now. So yeah, but it does seem like a new Star Trek film is on the way. So what do you think about that?
A new Star Trek film, like with the same company, like.
Well, that's unclear at this point. So it could be it could be a whole new thing, or maybe a sequel to Beyond.
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be a new thing because I really, really liked the ending. They closed with back in 2016 or 2017, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So I really like that closing because it's just a really, really good trilogy to watch. So yeah, and yeah, I'm just hoping. Well, the thing is, if they do like a fourth one, that's going to be a bit weird because like with the actors, an actor who passed away.
Yes.
Who played I forgot.
Chekhov.
Yeah, Chekhov. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a bit weird of like continuing that. So. But hopefully, if it's going to be a new one and it's going to be with Chris Hemsworth, I think that's going to be really cool. But and I don't think there is a lot of Star Trek films, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 13 as it stands.
13.
13. Yeah. So I agree with you. I love Star Trek Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond. That's.
I think it ends.
They play Beastie Boys.
Yeah, that's such a good scene. I think that is such a good ending to that trilogy. I agree that it would be a little bit difficult to bring it back. Anton Yelchin has passed away. Chekhov can't be there anymore. But I think that Star Trek, like if you look at the TV shows at the moment, you've got Discovery, you've got Picard, you've got Lower Decks, you've got new things coming, and Star Trek all throughout its history has done different things with different characters. And I think, I'd totally be cool with leaving this kind of, this new kind of series there and trying something different. I've watched the first 4, I think. I've watched the first 4 Star Trek films, original ones.
Oh, right. Was Wrath of Khan?
Oh, Wrath of Khan's great. Yeah, Wrath of Khan's really good. Definitely lives up to the reputation. But yeah, I hope that I just hope that they continue. They go somewhere different. I'm not like I feel fulfilled with this new series. I think they did it really well. I thought Star Trek Beyond was just awesome. Probably my favorite one of the trilogy. So like I hope that they leave it on a high note and not risk making a 4th film, because those films they're not like huge at the box office either. So that's why it kind of takes so long for a sequel to be decided on. So I don't want them to take a gamble.
So I'm just hoping that anything too weird with it. So because it's got to have that magic, we know. Definitely. I mean, watching these Star Trek, because it's about these characters that you see Like that legendary actor who played Spock. I forgot his name.
Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, he played so well as Spock. So.
Yeah, definitely. And they really used him well. Like the fact that
Yeah.
he was in those films, and then like the actor died, so they really used that like to their advantage a lot, I think.
Yeah, so I really like that, and the films are used to. It's to serve like a prequel, you know what I mean, to the film.
It's really clever because it's a prequel while also being a sequel and a time travel thing, and I think it's really smart the way they did it.
Yeah, and not too confusing, so I give props to that. So.
Well, they were the first Star Trek films I watched, and I got it immediately, like as a kid. So like, you know, I feel like I'm ready for whatever they throw at me next.
Yeah. So hopefully again, don't take it too weird, but don't make a sequel. Make it original, and you know, have fun with it. You know.
Yeah, definitely. So our final piece of news is some casting news, actually. So Indiana Jones 5, which is currently slated for June 2022, has just cast Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is in, you know, Fleabag and Solo, and has written many things. So they've just cast her and announced that John Williams is returning to score the film. With James Mangold to direct, and it's going to be going into production soon. So yeah, well, what do you think about this? And I guess like the whole kind of he's gone, he died. So John, what do you think about this and the whole kind of prospect of a new Indiana Jones film? Let's see if I can get him back.
Right, sorry.
He's dead. He's back.
Right, I don't know why. My phone decided to ring someone. Why?
oh, Neil. Well, I was just saying, what do you think about the idea of Indiana Jones 5 in general?
Okay, I'm a bit too skeptical, a bit doubtful to it, because, you know, I feel like the fourth Indiana Jones film, I think it's just again, you know, ended on a really good, perfect note, and I really like that film. So, but making Indiana Jones 5, I mean, sure, I'm not too sure about making sequels, and if the film or quadruple films, they have like a perfect ending to it, and not to make a sequel, but making Indiana Jones 5 is going to be pretty interesting, but you know, yeah. So I'm not too sure. So
obviously the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a fairly controversial one, but I agree. I quite like it, and I do think it has a really good ending. But saying that, it's not Steven Spielberg this time, it's James Mangold. And I think that, you know, having seen Logan especially, I really think that James Mangold can bring something special to it, you know.
I mean, I agree what you're saying right there. But it's going to be a bit hard, you know, a new director like James Mangold, who is very, very talented. I mean, Logan and Wolverine and what other films? Le
Mans '66.
Le Mans. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was him. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I think he can do it, but I'm a bit, you know, worried about if it's going to break that, you know, a bit of a curse between like making movie sequels. I mean, I don't want to mind myself about the Alien films.
Right, exactly. You don't want these kind of beloved franchises to kind of go down the drain, like some of them have.
And as well as Terminator films, so yeah.
Exactly.
So
shall we talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 4?
Really? That was the news?
That was the news, yeah. Not much this week.
Any news from me? No news.
No. You're pregnant.
Okay, let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Let's do it.
Now, this week's episode was very, very, very good. I really like this one. But it was pretty interesting to see the other side of of the new Captain America, that the darker side, and see having that idea of him turning evil. So yeah. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to see, but like, what the heck?
Yeah, this show just continues. It just continues to be so good at everything. I think, immediately, as you just said, John Walker is such an interesting character. He's so layered. You have this, what I appreciate him the most about, it would have been so easy, just so incredibly easy for them to just make him just an asshole the whole time. But right from the start, well, I mean, not right from the start, but, from the beginning of I guess episode 1 makes him seem like he will be, like, a proper douchebag. But then, like, as soon as you get into him in episode 2, you find out, no, he's scared about taking up this mantle. He doesn't feel like he's worthy. He's constantly doubting himself. And you get that throughout all this episode, I really enjoyed, there's a conversation that he has with Lamar Hoskins about him not feeling like he deserves the medals that he has, and about the fact that he feels like, stuff that he did in Afghanistan, doesn't make him worthy of all the praise that he's getting. He has this whole feeling of inferiority. He's struggling to deal with the flag smashers when, a villain, Zemo, is having so much more success with it. The thing that I love about the character so much is that he just continuously doubts himself, and that manifests itself in such interesting ways. In this episode being him thinking that he wants the super soldier serum. He wonders, should I take it? Am I good enough without it? And at the end, you see that it can really, as you kind of get from Captain America and the Red Skull originally, it can bring out the best and worst in people. As you just said, it manifests itself in a really dangerous way at the end of this episode. Which obviously left many people, you see on like Twitter and stuff, many people who have watched the episode really did like that scene because, of how far it went. Like, I wouldn't have expected that kind of level from the MCU. It was really brutal.
It was really brutal. I mean, and I just really like this because it's just it's creating a whole new. Because this is new for the MCU, I think, because of having a really, really dark character and like having doubt. He's like very doubtful to himself, and you understood this. You really clearly understand this character very well, and I really like that. And it doesn't. And it breaks the formula, so I really like that. And seeing like the two parallels between John Walker's Captain America and then Steve Rogers' Captain America, because you can see that one is very, very one is good, and then one is very doubtful. You know what I mean? Like, he's very he's trying to prove himself even more. Even though Steve Rogers did, he just proved himself straight away, even though he just jumped on that grenade, like, back in the first Avenger film. So, you can see that parallel between them, and I like that because, it doesn't...
There are parallels. I think it's very interesting at the end of the episode, the way that he kills this flag smasher with this particular move where he slams the shield down on his head repeatedly, is similar to the end of Civil War, where Cap uses the same move on Iron Man, and it's very specific. Iron Man, like, covers his face, and Cap smashes his arc reactor instead. He doesn't kill him. He smashes his helmet off, and then he disarms him, basically, by smashing the arc reactor. And I think it's interesting, the parallel that John Walker doesn't stop, even when it's killing this guy in cold blood. And I think it's very intelligent of the show to emphasize the relationship between John and Lamar. Lamar is very much, the kind of, his kind of anchor to the reality, to the ground, to be like, listen, you are, he kind of brings him up and he helps him out. You see in the episode, he's kind of, he's there being like, he trusts his decision to take the super soldier serum, and then losing him, I feel like you see through John Walker that like losing this like friend figure, like in such a like cold-blooded way, like getting like kicked in the chest or punched. I can't remember which one it was, but still it's really brutal, and the way that he just dies so suddenly, I feel like it gives, I can in some strange way I can understand John's decision, why he got so angry, and I can really see in this next episode. I imagine he will have some sort of internal. I hope he'll have some sort of conflict about that, because it's everything that he proves himself to be, everything that him and Lamar fight against. As soon as he loses Lamar, he loses his kind of anchor to reality and what's right, and he goes kind of full force, which he was kind of prevented from doing in the other episodes by Lamar. So it's interesting to see whether John will become this full antagonistic force, or whether he will now see his error of his ways and give up the shield. The one thing that I'm really, really frustrated about is that the trailer for Falcon the Winter Soldier showed Sam with the shield, and that, like, it shows him like throwing a shield into training with it, throwing it into trees and such, all the way back in the original trailer, like last May or whenever it was. I just can't believe they showed that. It makes me really sad, to be honest.
Yeah, and it just makes you think about about heroes having like taking up the mantelpiece, and it takes like real courage to like you can see that with John Walker. He's just having a lot of doubt, and he's trying to prove himself even more, and it's just pretty interesting and very sad as well. So
I agree. It's not just what I think they also continue, as much as John Walker's a really interesting character, I think they continue doing really interesting things with Falcon and Winter Soldier themselves. I think one of the really good scenes in this episode was the opening scene where Bucky is set free by Io in Wakanda, where he gets the chance, where she says the words to him, and he finally, it's an incredible scene where he cries, and she tells him that he's free finally. You get this kind of interesting, racial parallel where, the white man is freed by the black woman, in Africa as well. It's kind of poetic in that sense.
Yeah.
How that's the place where he's freed, especially since, in the context of when that would have happened, he would have been at odds with T'Challa in Civil War quite recently. I think that's really, really nice, and I like seeing him, still, like, because it felt like in the films he went from Civil War to Infinity War, like, with barely any kind of
character development.
Yeah, it felt like he just kind of went, like, he just got over it off screen, and I'm glad that they're showing it. It might be done preemptively after the fact, but at least they're doing it, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I just really love the performance from Sebastian Stan.
That's a great.
He did that so well for that opening scene. Like, you can feel like the emotions. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he just, like, you can see that he's angry, sad, and like at the end he's happy, and I just want to say this performance is just great.
Yeah, he was really tortured in that scene, and I really appreciated that. I will say, as a kind of a shortcoming of this episode, I feel like the show kind of struggles with Sharon Carter at times. It feels like
Sharon Carter was a bit left out.
Yeah, it feels like they're using her as a means to an end. They're using her, like, for a couple of scenes as an informant, but nothing really beyond that. And I hope that she kind of has a more prominent role going forward. And same for Zemo. He can challenge the characters, and he asks them, like, questions. But, he sometimes he feels like he's just kind of there for a little bit of comic relief without such an active role. But I'm sure that will change.
We got a longer cut of him dancing.
We did get a longer cut of him dancing, and I appreciate that. That was amazing.
Appreciate that, because And here's the fun thing: if you put any song like him of like your favorite song or something, it just goes along perfectly well.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, that was. I mean, that was definitely the highlight of the week. Seeing that beautiful video of Zemo dancing.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful video, and it's just really fun. But then again, with Zemo, I agree that he's there for comic relief, but I really wish that he was, very more serious, because you can see that in Civil War he was just deadly serious about like ripping the Avengers team apart and breaking that. But then now he's just like living this life like as Baron. So
yeah, I like each version of Zemo in different ways, but I do prefer the more serious kind of threatening tone that he had in Civil War. But I do feel like now that he's kind of escaped, and now that he might be moving into more of an antagonistic role, I like that he has more. I like to think that he will have more to do. But it's not that he didn't have anything to do. I really enjoyed how he smashed the super soldier serum. There was the moment where I was kind of thinking to myself, oh, maybe he's going to take the serum for himself, but he doesn't. And I enjoy that he sticks to his morals on that, and that he's constantly kind of playing the game. I guess we won't fully know the breadth of what he's doing until we see his final plan come to fruition, because he's kind of he's playing the game. He's seeing everything as a 4D game of chess, and he's playing He's playing all the pieces, is what I'm imagining he is, because it feels like he's very much that kind of... He was that kind of character in Civil War, playing all the pieces in that way, and I hope that he is still. But, I also think that the other antagonist, Carly, they're doing really well with her. The scene where her and Sam have that conversation, I thought was really well done. You can really see that Sam kind of understands her point of view. It very much gave me a kind of T'Challa and like a Killmonger kind of thing, where... Sam understands Carly's kind of point of view, but at the same time, he understands the limits of it and that it's wrong. And I think it's perfect that was Sam in that conversation, because he can understand it better than someone like Bucky can. Being a black man in America and understanding the distrust in government and corporation that he has, I just think they're using that really well. And although I preferred some of the political content in episode 1 and 2, I think that if as a kind of second act couple of episodes that are like the second act of the story, I think they haven't lost what I loved about it. It's kind of become a bit more plot-based and character-based in these last 2 episodes, but I think that it's still, the story's still working, it's still moving, and they haven't lost what I loved in the other episodes.
Yeah, and I just feel like this is a very fresh, new TV, you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I hope that the other, like, Hawkeye and Loki, Miss Marvel, I hope that the upcoming shows have the same quality of this, as opposed to something like not Captain Marvel, WandaVision, which did feel like set up for Captain Marvel 2 and other things. So I hope that, they kind of do more stuff like this, and I hope that the positive reception to something like this, kind of spurs them on in the future. But
yeah, and it's just like this is just a very perfect example of how Marvel can do this in a very different way, like experimenting with these characters that are not properly used, but then used in the TV show, and see those characters collide and discover more world problems in the Snap and the Blimp. So
the Blimp. They're all stuck in a Blimp. They're all stuck in the Hindenburg.
Blimp. I'm so sorry.
They got no ticket. If you understand the reference.
Anyway, yeah, this is a great TV show to discover more of the MCU's problems and to resolve. And this is just like a very well thought TV show. Oh, another thing that I was thinking about a character. From episode 1, he was fighting the Flag Smashers, the big guy. He was fighting in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Is he going to come back?
Who are you on about?
Because I was thinking, is he going to be used for later?
You mean Sam's friend who was helping him in that episode?
Yeah, in Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I don't.
Yeah, I feel like he's forgotten now.
No, I think I remember Sam asking for intel from him in this episode or last episode. He went on the phone with him. I seem to remember.
Oh yeah, for Mama Danya or something.
Yeah, that's right. He was asking information on her.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I forgot about him.
Yeah, already. So he's still there, but he's not fully as in it as he was. But I think that's fine. I don't think he had anything like a lot to say. It's like I'm not that bothered that Batroc the Leaper, he was in one scene or one sequence in episode 1, but I'm not that bothered that he wasn't like a huge part of it, you know?
Yeah. Another thing about that you said about a character that could be returning and make you cry. Will that be in episode 5? I think.
Yes. So that's going to be this week. But apparently it's going to be a new character. So I was speculating it could be someone in Wakanda. Wildly I thought maybe it's T'Challa, but it seems not to be the case.
I thought. Well, what I thought it said was like, well, the character was going to be like a character that's going to be make us cry, and this week, this could be like a new character that we haven't seen before. But I don't think those dots are not connected. But I feel like we're just going to see two different characters, and I think that's it. So
yeah, I think there's potential that it could be the Power Broker because they have yet to be revealed in that kind of capacity. But I don't know. But I'm really excited to see where the show goes in the next 2 weeks.
Is Mephisto in this episode?
It's Doctor Strange.
Oh my god! What about Sharon Carter being Loki?
Oh my god, that makes so much sense because Loki has long hair and she has long hair too. Oh my god!
No, bro.
What?
You know that woman Dottie?
Dottie?
No.
What?
Oh my god!
Who's Dottie?
WandaVision.
What?
Do you know the woman?
Oh yeah, right, okay. So I've basically purged WandaVision from my mind. I remember like 5 scenes from that show, the good scenes.
Well, it's a curse for me because I can remember like mostly what happened in the show because sometimes I just guess movies straight away from the scene or I haven't seen before. It's a curse, I'll tell you. I don't know how.
And then sometimes you forget things completely.
Thank you. I can't remember to forget you.
That is poetic, man. Poetry John, he's back. So let's move on to our main segment, shall we?
Oh, before we say, I'm excited for more Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff because, it's really good so far.
Same here. It's great. I hope that it continues to be great. Otherwise,
drop the ball.
I will cry. Don't drop the ball, guys. Don't drop the ball. No. Don't drop the ball. Don't do it. Don't drop the ball. Don't drop the ball.
What if it's going to drop the ball?
No!
30
seconds.
No!
They'll have Mephisto come in the last 10 seconds of the episode and wink at the camera. Like in episode 1. Wow, it all comes back full circle. 10 out of 10. Best thing I've ever seen in my life.
But imagine there was like an editor all along. Like, no, guys, it wasn't Carly Morgenthau. It was me! It was
the old guy from episode 1?
Yes.
It was him all along. Boom. Full circle.
I don't know why my parents are laughing.
Why your parents are laughing?
I don't know.
Maybe
I think I've just been reading too many graphic novels this week, but
I don't even know what you're on about. I can't hear anything.
Are you anyway, on to the main segment of this week episode. Give me a drum roll.
Wait, who's drum rolling? Is it me or you? Restore the Snyder Verse.
Yeah.
So obviously, like,
no, we didn't give a spoiler warning.
Spoilers. Spoilers? For what?
No, we didn't get a spoiler warning for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Don't worry, it's in the description.
Oof.
It will say don't you worry, I've got all bases covered. But yeah, so right, Restore the Snyder. So the Snyder Cut came out about 3 weeks ago, and
2 weeks ago. Jeez, it feels like
yesterday, honestly. And And people are already calling for restoring the Snyderverse. So for those of you who don't know, the Restore the Snyderverse movement consists of a proposal of restoring specifically 5 elements. So this will be restoring David Ayer's original cut of Suicide Squad, making a Batfleck TV show with Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke and Jared Leto's Joker, a Man of Steel 2, and Justice League's Part 2 and 3, which will continue the story set up by Zack Snyder's Justice League. This has been a hashtag, that came out in the days that was already established before Snyder Cut came out, but it's become kind of a bigger thing and got quite a lot of tweets a couple of days after Snyder Cut dropped. So we're going to talk about like the possibilities for all this. So what do you want to start with?
Okay, so as a massive Deathstroke fan, I feel like I want to get my chest off first.
He loves Deathstroke, this man.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm getting more graphic novels for Deathstroke because
honestly, he loves Deathstroke, but he hasn't watched Arrow. You're missing out, man. Deathstroke's amazing in Arrow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. It's fine.
I'm a moose, okay?
You're a big moose, but it's fine. We're all mooses on the inside.
But I just really like the comic and the one in the DCEU. So, so this Deathstroke TV show. I want to see your thoughts first.
Oh well, first of all, I want to say it's not a Deathstroke TV show. It's a Batman TV show with Deathstroke in it.
Okay, that's even better.
That's the official pitch. Although there was a hashtag to make a Deathstroke TV show, so that's a separate thing. I think that'll also be quite cool.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I saw that. There was going to be a Deathstroke TV show. Yeah, there was. But it was going to be R-rated. So
yeah. So now the thing is for me I love Batfleck. He's awesome. Watch our video on Batman v Superman. You'll know that we both love Batfleck. And I think if they were to make a Batfleck TV show, I would be so down. That would be great. Make a limited series. Get Ben Affleck back. I'd love to see loads of people. But I think I would want it set before Batman v Superman. I would really like to see the story of Robin's death. I want to see how Batman goes from becoming the Batman we know from most of the comics, from most of the other films, to where he is in Batman v Superman. As we know, Joker kills Robin, burns down Wayne Manor, and Batman, in an act of vengeance, smashes Joker's teeth in and throws a batarang in his eye. That kind of these things that we found out since the films have come out from Snyder and other people, I think that's really interesting, and I'd like to see that kind of transition. I'd like to see Batman snap. I think that would be really interesting, and also it would kind of help give some clarity to the people who don't understand Batman's character, or they just don't like Batman's character, should I say, in Batman v Superman. I think that'd be really interesting. I really do. I think. It doesn't all have to be about death of the family. I'd love to see, Batman and Deathstroke. I want to see why Deathstroke doesn't like Batman and in Justice League, an eye for an eye kind of thing. And Snyder has talked about he wanted to have Carla Gugino play Catwoman. I like to see Ben Affleck's Batman interact with Catwoman. I think there are loads of unique possibilities for a potential Batman show. What do you think?
I'm so sorry for the noise that you heard.
I'm hearing a little bit, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'm just going to shut the door.
Okay.
Oh, no, the door's just decided to shut itself. I'm Doctor Strange. Ooh. Okay. Right. So, Deathstroke, Batman TV show. This is really cool. So, Tom, have you read Batman vs. Deathstroke?
I have, yes. You know I've read it. You got it me for my birthday a couple years ago.
Yeah, for your birthday 2 years ago. So,
wow.
So this comic, you read it before me.
I did.
So yes, so I read it and I found it again in some Waterstone bookstore in Leeds. So I don't know why I just decided to go into specific detail, but anyway, so when I read the comic, I was like, "Wow, this is really good." It's just shows potential of a really two Goliaths fighting each other. and for like something, like two different ideas. Like Deathstroke is fighting for honor, while Batman is fighting for to put his villains or enemies in fear. Fear is the one thing that Batman always wants to put in enemies, and to show off like his trying to serve his purpose and carry on the Wayne's legacy. So with this TV show, it's going to be really interesting to see the dynamic between Batman and Deathstroke, and I feel like that Deathstroke isn't really explored much in live television, even though you've seen a TV show. Sorry, in Arrow, you've seen that in Arrow, but fighting someone who is an iconic character, and you wasn't able to see that, but we've seen that in the famous game Batman Arkham Origins, and now that is just a fight. But I was just sad that we don't see more of this fight throughout, like some in more of TV shows, or maybe in more video games. Even though Arkham Knight just put us that road to sadness, even though we thought we were going to get a fight from him in it. Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be really interesting. And what you said about putting him in, putting this TV show before. Wait, did you say before Batman knocks or smashes Joker's teeth? Yeah. So I think that fits really well. But even though I thought about wait, what if like when Lex Luthor said, "Can you take out Bruce Wayne? Can you kill Bruce Wayne or something like that?" So I thought, well, that'd be really interesting, because I've heard in an interview where the character said, the actor said, I can't pronounce his name. So
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, so he said that it was going to be like a horror. So
yeah, he said that the proposed Deathstroke film was going to be directed by the same guys who did The Raid, and it would have been like a low budget kind of like brutal kind of thing. That sounds really cool. I like the idea of Batman and Deathstroke coming toe to toe in such a. Because I guess, if you were to do a limited series, there are two ways to do it. You can either go like a big story with like Death of the Family with Joker that climaxes in Robin's death, or you could do a story that kind of tells the background for Deathstroke and Batman's like rivalry. And while I'd like to see both of them, honestly, if they were going to do a Batfleck show, I would rather see Joker and Death of the Family. I think, let's say they did restore the Snyder Verse. So let's say we got all of these things. We'd get to see a lot of, like, Deathstroke and Batman, it seems, in the Nightmare timeline, and, with Deathstroke going to get revenge on Batman in whatever way you set it up in the Snyder Cut. So I think that if they did that, I think I would be satisfied. But I would still want to see Joker and Robin. I want to see that story play out more than I do want to see a Deathstroke story, personally.
Yeah, I agree as well. Like, even though, I'm putting that in the past, or maybe like straight after when, no, that'll be a really good opening. Like when that opening, like Batman smashing Joker's teeth out, and then you can really see the anger in the TV show. That Batfleck is like,
Yeah, I feel like.
See that brutal fight, like he's straight after just knocked out Joker's teeth. So that would be really, like, that strong motivation. So I think that would be.
I feel like it could be a blend between Nightfall and Dark Knight Returns. So in Dark Knight Returns, Bruce slowly gets back to becoming Batman, and he kind of realizes that he has to kind of step in once again. And then in Nightfall, Bruce slowly gets more and more tired until, as villains kind of beat him down, and he becomes more pressured by his life as Batman before Bane delivers the killing blow and famously breaks his back. I feel like you could do something in between that, where slowly over the course of the show, Batman becomes more and more dark. He comes to see more and more of the worst of Gotham. He sees the worst of humanity, and he becomes more cynical. He sees how many good guys are left. He sees what promises are worth. He sees exactly what he says in Batman v Superman. And then the final straw is Robin's death, which sends him into this kill rage, from Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I think that would be really fitting for that time era, see that motivation in BBS, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Batman doesn't kill. He doesn't kill." But anyway, that'd be really, really. That's a really good idea to have the Batfleck.
Sorry. I got another text. I'm so popular. I'm really sorry.
You are so popular, Mr. Popular.
I've got so many friends, John. I don't know what to do.
Okay, calm down. Just get your Diet Coke and just chill.
Okay. Oh, do you have Diet Coke right now?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I want Diet Coke, and you're gonna make me jealous.
Okay. I don't have Diet Coke right now.
Good.
I don't have it.
Well, that's good, because that's a good segue. It's really not, but let's talk about... Should we talk about Suicide Squad next? David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
Sorry, I want to really end on that now.
Oh, right, yeah, so go on.
Please make a Batfleck show. I'm really, with Deathstroke, please, I'm desperate.
Do it, yeah. I genuinely think...
Content, please.
I genuinely think, out of all of these, a Batfleck show is probably the one thing I want to see the most. Even more than another Justice League film. I would love to see a Batfleck show. That'd be so good.
With
with Deathstroke, of course.
So right, onto the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Yeah.
So the background towards this one is interesting. If you've watched the first trailer for Suicide Squad back in 2016, you'll know. The film had a...
No.
Is it you okay, John? I'm sorry, I didn't want to remind you. I'm sorry, I know it's painful. It was... The original Suicide Squad was going to be... It looks like it was going to be something special. David Ayer has talked about it was going to be slower, it was going to be more methodical. And then, the second... it was a mix between the Batman v Superman reception not being the best, and then the second trailer. So they had reshoots and rewrites. They hired the same company who did the trailer to edit together the film, and it created just a dreadful film. And don't you worry, fans of the pod, we are going to be talking about Suicide Squad later down the line before the Suicide Squad comes out. I'm very excited about that one. But yeah, David Ayer has confirmed that his cut of Suicide Squad does exist. It was gonna have Steppenwolf. Well, it might have had Steppenwolf in it. It would have been more connected to Justice League with the mother boxes and stuff. It would have explored the characters more. There would have a lot more Joker that was cut out. So I know there are a lot of fans of Jared Leto's Joker. And there's a lot more of him that would have been redeemed. Like there are so many different characters who would have got different kind of arcs. And Harley's, specifically Harley Quinn's story, was a lot more about kind of escaping the toxic relationship with the Joker instead of like wanting to go back to it. So yeah, what do you think about this one?
David Ayer cut. I'm supporting for it. Yeah, just I want to see it because what you said about like it's well more connected to Justice League. And seeing more of the characters, even though the film, I don't want to remind myself about the film. Oh god, more character development. Yes, more characters. Harley Quinn and Will Smith as Deadshot and
correct.
Climbing Man. What was the Climbing Man guy?
Slipknot, the man who can climb anything. God. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here. You haven't seen Suicide Squad, right?
No.
Ah, okay. So you haven't seen the original. So thank God, because it's bad.
I know the bad stuff about it. I've seen clips.
Right.
Even Slipknot.
So you haven't.
Climbing Man.
So you haven't been graced with the glory of Suicide Squad. So I have to say, you know, I really don't think that there's any, like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like, unlike the other things, you wouldn't be adding a whole lot to the story by making a Suicide Squad Ayers cut, by releasing it. I'm so sorry, I got another text. I'm so popular. I'm so popular today. But yeah, I feel like you wouldn't really get lots from releasing, you know, in terms of the plot, in terms of the overarching Snyder narrative, you know, releasing Suicide Squad wouldn't do a whole lot for the narrative, but I think in the sense of having David Ayer realise his vision, I think there's loads you could do. You know, I've seen the theatrical cut of Suicide Squad. I've seen the extended cut of Suicide Squad. Both films are bad, but the scenes...
What's the extended cut, man?
Right, it's 15 minutes more. It's not like Batman v Superman. It's not a whole different film. It's just a little bit more. But the scenes they add are good, and it really makes me want to see the Ayer cut. You know, there's more of Joker and Harley in this, like, really bad relationship, which I feel like they romanticize relationship too much in the actual film. It's not as abusive as it should be. I can't believe I'm saying that I want it to be more abusive, but it should be more abusive. And, you know, it shouldn't be presented as such a nice thing between the characters, because they're both psychopaths. And yeah, and there's more bonding between the team, and just little moments that I think, you know, I think an Ayer cut would really make some of these characters shine in a way they didn't originally. But, you know, yeah. Anything else to add about the Ayer cut?
I mean, sure, just need more stuff, you know, to make the film a lot more better.
We just need more stuff. It's true.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's go.
But more excited for okay, I gotta stop about this.
We know you love Deathstroke, John. It's true. Right, so let's talk about Man of Steel 2, shall we?
Yeah, Man of Steel 2.
Yeah!
Okay, so Man of Steel 2. So a lot of people were very excited for Man of Steel 2, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting, but I'm not too sure about a sequel. I don't know, because standalone with it's a really good, you know, film to have, like Man of Steel 2 to you know like I'm not saying it properly. Man of Steel being a standalone film is great because, you know, it really shines of what Superman is like, and but having a sequel, that's going to be tough because you gotta think all of the characters. But is this Snyder? If the Man of Steel 2 is going to be directed by Snyder, or is it going to be someone else?
I think the idea is, if they did restore Snyder Verse, Zack would be the creative. He would be behind the story at the very least. I don't know if it would be someone else. I guess that would be up for them to decide. I think the thing about Man of Steel 2, and the reason why it's the one that I could, you know, if they were to restore the Snyderverse and they were like, what's the one that you would like to see the least? It would be Man of Steel 2. And I think that's because we've seen Man of Steel 2. Batman v Superman is Man of Steel 2. Superman's whole plot in that film is the fallout of Man of Steel. It's all responding to that. And it, like, all the political stuff and all the, you know, like, religious aspects of it and the way that the world reacts is what Man of Steel 2 should be. Sure, there's no Brainiac, there's no, you know, I mean, I guess Doomsday is there, but, you know, there's loads of Bizarro, there's loads of Superman villains who people want to see, but, you know, you go from General Zod to Luthor to Doomsday, you know, they do that really well. I don't think, well, I mean, they do it really well for me and for a lot of other fans. I don't think we need a Man of Steel 2, honestly, and I think, you know, developing Superman's arc now through Justice League 1, 2, and 3 is good enough. You know, I feel like if he was at the core of Justice League 2 and 3, that's all I need. I don't need Man of Steel 2 because I don't know what it would have to say that we haven't already said, you know? Like, there is an argument where Superman has to struggle with being back alive, but according to leaks about what Justice League 2 would have been, that would have been the kind of story that film would have told.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a bit pointless of having a Man of Steel 2 because how are you going to branch out even more with the character. So yeah, again, it's going to be a bit pointless, to be honest. So
definitely.
So,
yeah. So let's talk about the big one, I guess the big two, I guess. Justice League 2 and 3. The ending of the Snyder trilogy. The nightmare scenes. The nightmare world, should I say? The Darkseid invasion. The death of Wonder Woman, Aquaman. Evil Superman. The whole shebang. Basically, what it was all building up to since Batman v Superman. I mean, there's just so, obviously there've been loads of leaks about what this plot could be. Batman and Lois having a relationship. The new Batman being Superman and Lois's child. The League dealing with another league of supervillains. What do you think about Justice League 2 and 3? What would you hope from it?
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely excited for it because, the ending of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, just really opens up, for Justice League 2 and 3. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see, and if they do like a Batflick TV show with Deathstroke, it's going to be set really well for Justice League 2 because we could understand why Deathstroke may be joining Batman for a reason. So I'm pretty excited for that, and to explore more of Darkseid because we saw Darkseid at the end brooding and having that very, very famous pose that he did in the comics. So I'm really, really interested to see a sequel. What else is more? Seeing more of Superman having that interaction with the League more. Seeing more of the realistic elements of the team together. So I think that's really, really, really good, and it's going to be directed by Zack Snyder, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, that
it was
like all of this. That would be the idea. You're totally right. I think Darkseid had such a presence in the short amount of time he got in the Snyder Cut. It would be great to see him, properly get his chance to shine and be up there with the likes of other superhero villains, on-screen superhero villains like the Joker and Thanos and Magneto and stuff. I think there's an opportunity to do that, and things that aren't going to happen, like Cyborg. It would be great. I mean, obviously, there's so much going on with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers at the moment that if they did do this, we can only hope that Ray Fisher would come back to do Cyborg. But I think so many people agree that Cyborg was one of, if not the best parts of the Snyder Cut. And, to be able to see him kind of continue his journey as a hero, and I think loads of things, there's just loads of things to explore through that. I think I read somewhere that the trilogy would have ended with Batman's death. I think that's a wonderful idea, having Batman's arc from Batman v Superman, and even in the Batfleck show, if it happened, would be a story of how he broke his own rules. He became the very thing he swore to destroy, but then he brought himself back up and he made that sacrifice play in a similar way to Iron Man, but hopefully better because it's Batman. I think there's so many avenues to explore, and I think at the end of the day, whether or not they do the Batfleck show, whether or not they do Man of Steel 2, whether or not they do Suicide Squad, the main thing that I would want to see, as much as I want to see a Batfleck show so much, seeing a Justice League sequel, it has all these elements. You want to see more Joker, Justice League 2 and 3 will have more Joker. You want to see more Henry Cavill Superman, it will have it. More Cyborg, more Darkseid, more Batfleck, more of everything that, fans of this of these series of films really like and what they come for. There'll be more of that. And I think that's the main thing, and a chance to let this story kind of complete itself. You know, you can no longer, people will finally be able to look at films like Batman v Superman with the correct hindsight and be like, well, they did this because they wanted to set up this and this, and I think the Snyder Cut was all about restoring the vision, and I think, restoring the Snyder Verse is a whole different thing. It's a whole different can of worms, but at the end of the day, the opportunity to realize that full vision, and making another strand of the multiverse, is a really good idea and really cool. I just hope that it doesn't just go, oh, I just hope that it doesn't decide to meander, in a similar way to I don't want them to do Justice League 2 not be connected at all. I want Justice League 2 to be Darkseid and Justice League 3 to be Darkseid. Don't waste time. Just get to it. There were in the leaks about Justice League 2, there was something about the League fighting natural disasters, and that sounds just not as interesting to me. I feel like you should get that story done, tell it as you want to. So many people want to see the Nightmare sequence, want to see Darkseid in all of his glory. I just hope that they can, do it well.
Yeah. Just get straight to where Darkseid's more interesting. So please restore the Snyderverse.
Do it! Or should I say, do it?
Oh no, when you Armada. Oh.
Do it!
Yeah. Do it!
Do it. Yeah, so...
what else? What do I want to say more about this? I think that's it for me.
Okay, right, well that's it from me too. I'd love to see it, but, I don't... I hope so, but I don't know how likely it is at this point.
Yeah, so I think that's it for me with the Snyder. So yeah.
Great. Let's move on to weekly viewing, shall we?
Yes, weekly viewing. Yay!
Yee. Do you want to start off?
Yeah.
What have you watched?
Okay, so I've watched Django Unchained this week.
Nice.
Yes, Django. That song I just can't get off. That opening sequence. Just singing Django. I don't know how it goes. I think that's it. So Django. This one's a very controversial. What Tarantino did. I don't know how to phrase it, but can you phrase it, Tom?
Well, what are you trying to say?
Like what Tarantino did. We had that discussion about, Django. Why is it controversial?
There is a bit of controversy surrounding the film. I think it's the way that he approached it. He kind of, especially with other directors, particularly Spike Lee, there's a controversy because Tarantino argues that he changed the way that people were looking at slavery, and he made it topical again, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And whereas Spike Lee argues that that what happened with slavery, what happened to black people, wasn't a Sergio Leone Western. It was a Holocaust. It was a massacre. And so I think there's a part of this film that has to be taken, with a lot of what's the word? You just got to be mindful of that, I guess, when talking about this, because I think there is a bit of egotism in what Tarantino's saying. I don't think that he's revolutionizing how we talk about slavery. I think that you have to be aware that these things.
Yeah.
This isn't what happened.
That's exactly how I want to phrase it. I'm not too sure how to phrase it. I don't want to trigger a lot of people.
Yeah,
so,
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So my opinion of the film. The film is great. Seeing the egotism of Tarantino. I mean, it shows us a really good storytelling of the characters that you see with Dr. Schultz, and with Django, and I really like that cameo with the character who played as Django in the old ones. You know what I mean? Like
the original serials.
I like that one. Leonardo DiCaprio's performance is just it's so weird to see him like as a really vile character. And Samuel Jackson as well. Steam is this character. What's his name?
I can't remember. But Samuel L. Jackson, he's got a reputation of working. He works with Tarantino a lot. He's in most of his films.
Yeah, a lot of his films, especially like the voiceover in Inglourious, which is also a great film. There's the music choice. I don't know how Tarantino did this, but the music choice is just brilliant in this. The mix with he mixed with hip hop and with old country songs in this film. I don't know how he did it, but it's just great. And it's just going back to what it goes like the character of Django. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I don't know how to rate it really because it is a great film. I really like the performance from Christoph Waltz as Dr. Schultz. I'm not saying it right. Dr. Schultz.
Dr. Schultz.
It's like that scene from Once Upon a Time. It's Schwartz. So talking to Al Pacino. So I give it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, and I kind of watched all the Tarantino films like one after another. So I do remember it being one of the better ones. But I understand what you're saying. It's a difficult film to kind of rate because there's so much controversy behind it and so much kind of there's a lot to say that you kind of need to fully look into to kind of understand and make a kind of fair judgment on it, because I think Tarantino's talking about how he's redefining history, and that's a little bit insensitive of him. But then again, he can be kind of insensitive in that way. There's obviously a lot of controversy about him using the N-word in his films as well. So
especially that scene in Pulp Fiction. Oof.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it feels like he just writes characters and then he wants to play the characters just so he can rattle off the N-word 100 times in a scene. It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. And there was an interview about the violence. There was so it's just funny to see him like this. It's just so the interviewer just goes, "Can you turn down the violence, please?" Well, why do you like? And then Terrence just goes, "It's so much fun, Jan. It's so much fun."
Yeah, I've seen it. Tarantino he's pretty much a caricature of himself at this point. He's literally he's just hilariously ridiculous.
And he makes great films, but also a bit very controversial. So,
definitely.
Yeah, I don't know how, but it's just Yeah,
so you're obviously watching the old Tarantino film. So what have you got left now?
So I can understand more of his styles.
Yeah,
and I really liked. I don't know why, but I really, really love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think it's just the perfect summer film to watch.
I need to watch it again. I'll watch them all again at some point. But how many have you got left now?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry for talking too much.
How many Tarantino films have you got left to watch?
I've watched Once Upon a Time, Inglourious, Pulp Fiction. Wait. Once Upon a Time, Django. Once Upon a Time, Pulp Fiction. Inglourious, Pulp Fiction. Okay.
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. Yes, Reservoir Dogs. Yes. 6, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so you've still got Hateful Eight, Death Proof, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. So I've seen 5. I think I've seen 4. 4 or 5.
Good stuff.
Right. Okay. What you've been watching this week?
Well, I have watched. Well, I mean, I've been watching this over a few months, but I finished it, rewatching it with my girlfriend recently. The In-Betweeners. Now,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Now, the In-Betweeners is one of these things that, excuse me, it's one of those things that I watch pretty much yearly because to me, In-Betweeners is one of the best shows ever made. People who've watched it will understand. It's a pinnacle of British comedy, and it's just one of these things that is so aware of the experience of, and obviously I have so much to relate to, having had a high school and college experience, being a white 18-year-old guy, there's a lot to relate to in this, in the experiences that these characters have, and it's told in such a, it's not just in such a funny way, but in such an aware way. All the characters look and feel like people you would know, and there's a real, you can feel that kind of camaraderie that they have. And not just they bounce off each other really well, and not just is it like really dirty, which is exactly how friends act around each other. It's a show that has a lot of heart, and I feel like people who haven't seen it will just know some of the jokes, particularly when it was remade in America, they kind of did a lot. They kind of aped a lot of the jokes, and they did it and they changed it to make them a bit like American. And they kind of lost the heart in it. I think there is a lot of heart about the value and the persistence of friendship among literally the biggest kind of mess ups you can have in your life. I think every time I watch it, I'm just reminded of the the best parts of education, and I've hated education, man. It's the worst.
Education. In high school, it was kind of pointless, but it was like giving you a track to what you want to go. But
honestly, I could go on about all the things, all the absolute shite that happened to me in education that I hated. But watching the show, it gives me that perspective where it's like, you know what, there have been good things to come out of it. These life-shaping experiences that might have been horrible and embarrassing and sometimes really fun, but they do shape you and they make you a better person. And it's also one of those shows where there's only 6 episodes per season. They're only 20 minutes each. And there's only 3 seasons. But every season is perfect. Apart from personal preference, there is no season that's better than any other, quality-wise. It all builds on itself, in a perfect way, and it's, there's a loose strand of connectivity, ongoing jokes, but it is an anthology. You can dip in and out, which is great. Whenever you need kind of that pickup, you can watch at any point, and it's very much it stands alongside shows like The Mighty Boosh and Spaced as just some of the best British comedies. The Office, things that comment on life, have loads of fun with it, and are timeless with their casts and characters and all the things they create. And every time I watch it, I just want to tell everyone, recommend it to everyone. People in the UK, it's on All 4. Yes, the adverts are really annoying, but god damn it, it's worth it. It's an incredible show, and I have to recommend it. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is an immediate 10 out of 10. Just on all levels, it is absolute perfection. And yes, there are things that haven't aged too well about it. It isn't extremely diverse in any sense. It doesn't comment on any experiences of women or non-white people. But at the end of the day, I think everyone can find something from it, and I haven't met a single person who doesn't like it. I think especially people who live in the UK will really find a lot to relate to in it, and it's great. So yeah. Definitely go watch it if you haven't already. 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it.
I haven't watched it.
You need to watch it, honestly. It's on all 4, so you'll have to get through a couple of ads to watch each episode, but they're really, really good. Once you've watched the Clone Wars, definitely go and watch it. It's
you
so
give
good.
me too much to watch.
Yeah. Oh my god. Honestly, I know, and I have to apologize, but once you've done with the Clone Wars and stuff, then you should watch it. And I might get. There's no Blu-ray, unfortunately. So maybe when a Blu-ray comes out, I'll let you borrow it because it's just incredible. It's a classic. It really is. But they did a reunion like 2 years ago, and the reunion was the most awkward thing you'll ever watch ever. It was like it was dreadful. Like even the people involved with it like apologized for how forced it was. It was pretty embarrassing.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Oh gee. Oh.
Yeah, extremely awkward.
Okay.
So yeah, so what else have you watched this week?
So if you remember back in September last year, we talked about New Mutants, and I talked about the graphic novel, the Batman Last Night on Earth.
Yes.
So I reread it. The exact.
I swear. I thought you were going to say that you watched New Mutants then. I genuinely thought that you'd have watched New Mutants, and I got very excited.
No. So I reread it this week, and my God, it's so good. Without a doubt, it might be my top 3 favorite graphic novel.
Woo! That is a bold claim, sir.
Yeah, that is a bold claim. But what I reread, it is so different because with like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, those two master at work. It's just so good. Like with everything into this comic is just like really good. If you like read their work or the like Endgame, Call of Owls, the New 52 one, and Dark Knight Metal. So seeing those, it's great. But this, I thinking, oh, okay, so it might be connected to the New 52, but their goal was to have it like standalone, not to be connected to their New 52 because it would make it a bit awkward to the story because the story is great, but there's some moments that you think, oh, why is Batman doing this? Oh, why is Batman doing that? Because if you trying to connect the dots between this graphic novel and the New 52 one, it's going to be a bit weird. But if you see it as standalone, it is so good. It's just like an Elseworld. It's like a really good Elseworld comic. Even though it's just like seeing of how this world just got into this dark place and seeing how these heroes fall and seeing Batman, deciding to trust and to grow. What am I hearing? Is that my voice relay?
What?
I don't know why I heard my voice in that. I don't know. Sorry.
It might be the relay. Yeah. Side note. It might be a good time to say. Very soon, the audio on the pods are going to get better. I promise.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm going to get a microphone very soon, and we'll be able to do it on Discord, so it will be able to sound somewhat good on your end at least.
Yes. So I got a better microphone. So
good stuff.
Yeah. As I said, what was I going to say?
Last night, interrupt you there.
A lot of people love it, but some people don't because of the story. Of this character, or it just ruins this part. But I disagree because it really makes you think about Batman on a deeper level and thinking about how his thing just really impacts the DC universe. So. Yeah, so I recommend it. It's a 10 out of 10 from me.
A 10 out of 10?
Yeah, so that's it. And also, I just ordered a graphic novel yesterday, and I just got it. It's called Batman White Knight.
Oh, yeah. Is that not also Scott Snyder?
No, that is...
No.
Get it? Let me just get the thingy.
He's on an adventure. He's getting something out.
So it is by Sean Murphy and Matt Hollingsworth.
Cool.
Yeah, and the art. The art is just at the level because Sean Murphy knows how to draw Batman. It's just great. And also Scott Snyder. Greg Capullo as well.
I tell you what, I need to borrow Last Night on Earth.
Sorry?
I need to borrow Last Night on Earth.
Yes. So I would recommend you reading the graphic novel a lot later because it's get better every time you read it. So because it does take you by surprise, but then once you really understand about this world that Batman's in and how he coping with it, and because you've never seen this Batman, but you do in the new 52 one. So yeah, so that's it from me because I've been talking too much. What have you been watching or reading?
Well, I thought that because you talked about Scott Snyder, this might be a good little segue. Originally, I was going to talk about Bugsy Malone. By the way, Bugsy Malone's great. I rewatched it this week. It's awesome. And I thought we've already talked about it in the pod, so I didn't think I'd retrace, but I watched Logan as well. Logan's great. It still is great. It's awesome. But yeah, I read the first volume of American Vampire. Now, American Vampire is a Scott Snyder graphic novel that isn't a DC or Marvel one. It's co-written by Stephen King, actually, and I'm gonna have to check. It is illustrated by Raphael Albuquerque, and is so this first one is split into two kind of stories. One set in 1925 and one set in 1880. And the 1880 segment is written by Stephen King and kind of tells the origin story of the American vampire, while the 1925 segment it shows more about what he's been up to in the time since he got turned into a vampire. This criminal called Skinner Sweet, and him finding a victim. And the thing that now Stephen King mentions this in the introduction, in the foreword that he writes. The thing that's so cool about this graphic novel is that it doesn't show vampires. It doesn't go like the Twilight route where vampires are sexy and mysterious. It doesn't go the kind of classic kind of vampire mystery. In this, vampires are just bloodthirsty monsters, and it's such a classic vampire story of seeing two people in two different time zones become vampires and kind of adjust to what it's like and have to deal with this kind of new life for themselves. It's very similar to kind of like a superhero origin story. You get that kind of realizing that they are different and seeing how people around them react. But it's done in such a unique way. And the idea of... I must say I much preferred the 1925 segments, just because I thought the characters a bit more compelling. I did like the 1880s stuff, but I thought the idea of an established vampire who was turning someone new was more interesting to me. But the idea that this proposes of a vampire who has been there since the 1800s and sees throughout from 1925, and I think there's about 7 or 8 volumes out currently, spanning from 1925 to 1976. I think is the latest one that's just about to come out. And the idea that it's telling stories of vampires being there the whole time, watching over history, is just a really cool and creepy idea. And it's so good, as you said, Scott Snyder is done so well with Batman, and it's so good to see him, just be reassured that he can kick ass in other genres with other characters that aren't established. And obviously we both loved Scott Snyder as an author, and it's just great to know that I didn't love him because it wasn't just because I love Batman and Batman stories. He also kicks ass in American Vampire, and I'm loving it, and I really want to read the rest. Going into World War II and the Cold War, there's just so many interesting ideas. I love stuff where they take the supernatural or fantastical elements and they bring it into the modern world. Even like superheroes being put into like real world scenarios and historical events. It's all just really cool for me. And yeah, I've been getting so much more into non-classic superheroes like comics, stuff like American Vampire and Descender. I read 300 and stuff like that. And it just, there's such a great wide world of graphic novels out there, and I love it so much. It's all great.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, would you rate it so far with the volume 1?
I think I'll rate it separately. So I think I'd give the Stephen King written storyline a 7, and the Scott Snyder written storyline an 8. And I think in general I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's a really good starting point, and I hope it only gets better from here.
Yeah. I don't know how I got into Scott Snyder, but it's just
didn't you buy like Batman Volume 5?
No, I did not. So let me tell you. So back in 2016, I was wandering around in Costco, and there was a sale going on, and it was like a bunch of graphic novels, and there wasn't Marvel, so I was like, oh, okay. So, and then I just stumbled upon the Scott Snyder New 52 one. Now, I was allowed to get one. So, of course, I got the volume 1. So, I was a bit skeptical because it just looks a bit, okay. But then, once I read it, I was just so fascinated with the Court of Owls and Batman. And I didn't really understand the character much because I thought he was just a silly character because I didn't really read in much into him. And it's just amazing that how Scott Snyder just makes these characters so emotional and dark at the same time. And a lot of people saying that, oh, he's trying to be edgy, which I disagree because it is what Scott Snyder does, and you can see that so well in Endgame, because Endgame is just like the highlight of the best Batman Joker story that I could think of. It's just great. I really like reading the stories, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and it's also in that run is one of the only times that I'm not a fan of the Bat Family, but I think in that New 52 run they use the Bat Family very intelligently, and I always like it when writers don't just ignore the things they don't like, they incorporate it in a intelligent way.
Yeah, and sometimes with of people using the Bat Family as leverage to Batman, because I don't like that, because Batman himself is just powerful, and he's just a very unstoppable hero and not a force to be reckoned with. So but as I said, he used the Bat Family smart. Smart. I can't speak today.
You can, John. You can never speak. Don't worry about it.
So if you haven't read of these graphic novels that I'm speaking right now, please do. They're great. If you're not into graphic novels, that's fine. You can watch Comic Historian or Comic Historian. Is that his name?
Yeah. There's a lot of good summary videos that are always quite good. But if you're not into comics and you're wondering where to start off, I think Scott Snyder's Batman run. If you're interested in Batman, that's a pretty good jumping off point as a fairly modern one as well.
Yeah, but this one is just a very modern take, and I really like it. So New 52 one, Court of Owls. That's how I got into graphic novels. So thank you, Scott. Scott Snyder.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, happy it.
Yeah. So that's it for us for this week. Next week I am very, very proud to say that we are finally going to be doing Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, baby.
That is if you can watch it, John. This all hinges on you here, buddy.
Oh, don't worry, man. I can watch it.
Good. We have been waiting for months to do Wonder Woman 1984. We've had a thumbnail ready for so long, and I'm very excited to talk about it. I've got so much to say. I hope I can remember it, but I probably can. But yeah, so get excited for that for next week. And obviously we'll be talking about Falcon Winter Soldier episode 5. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you liked it and you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to, keep up with what's happening. Or you can follow us on Twitter or on Instagram at Outstime Film Pod, or email us for any thoughts. We'll read them out if we do get emails. As always, we don't get any emails, but we would love to have some kind of contact with you guys. So email us at outtimefilmpod@gmail.com, or you can contact us separately or just check us out on Twitter. I am at Tom the Baldwin on Twitter.
I am Comedy John 42 on Twitter.
And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. You have anything else to say?
Please stay safe. Stay safe.
Yes.
It is a holiday, but do be safe, because if you're visiting someone in the back garden and social distancing, please do that. Social distance, and be safe. So have a great break, and that's it from the Out of Time Film Podcast. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. So,
yes, please do. It's a very special week for us. But yeah, so take what you're given.
Get nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.